And welcome to Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Dima Mixon, Jackson Howell, Charlie Luttrell, Nathan Lee. We have four people on. It is 4th Street. Southern Miss wins 20-19. I don't even know what to say. I'm just gonna hand it to Jackson. I honestly don't even know what to say.
I don't really know what to say either. They snatched victory from the jaws of defeat. You see how they played in the third quarter. They couldn't do anything offensively, gave up a touchdown on Arkansas State's opening possession of each half, and then the safety really looked like the nail in the coffin until they started running the football, and more importantly, they went with Jake Lang at quarterback.
Charlie, Nathan, if I would have told y'all on Wednesday when we did the prediction pod that we were going to have Ty Mims, Janari Dean, and Jake Lang as the three players we interview after the game, would y'all have said, I'm literally out of my mind?
Nobody expected it. I wouldn't say it would be, out of your mind, though, because we talked about, before in our preview that Southern Miss had these weapons, especially, guys like Ty Mims, and we saw Chandler Pittman, Janari Dean. They all got going. They were a part of the game plan throughout the whole game, really, even though the offense, didn't get what they wanted to get going really until the fourth quarter with points on the board. They were a part of the game, so it was really good to see them. And of course, Jake Lang coming in was a little bit, I would say, a shocker to see it so early too, but he got the job done. He did what needed to be done, and that's all you can ask for.
Yeah, to kind of piggyback on that, I can't really say much more besides, it was kind of wild to see everything that happened, but that is something that we've seen from the Southern Miss team throughout this season is next man up mentality, and they've done very well with it. Like Janari Dean, like you said, after Frank got a little banged up, Ty Mims. We've been hearing about these guys' names all season, and we're wondering when they could make an impact, and then they make the impact in the biggest part of the game, which is a wild thing to say, but you got to be proud of that team just to have that fight and overall wild win. But any win's a win. Yeah.
We just talked to Will Hall in postgame interviews, and he said that after everything that went against them in those three quarters, because they were moving the ball, so they were dead as in momentum, but it wasn't like they were playing awful football, right? I mean, some of the things they were doing, the 2 interceptions by Zach were not good, obviously, but they weren't playing terrible football. They were actually ahead of Arkansas State in yardage for most of the game. And Will Hall said that everything that went against them in that first 3 quarters, he said they kept battling and they did it together. And I want to hone in on that word together because together means the entire team, Jackson. And they got these players who we've all four talked about that they should be getting involved more and more outside of Jake Lang, but just Ty Mims. We've seen him bounce in practice. We've seen Janari Dean. We've wondered why they haven't been doing that 1-2 punch. And Will Hall said just a second ago that it was because they haven't gotten the snaps at offense that they got tonight. So I just think you just need to hone into that word together. They did it by not even relying. Brownlee didn't even lead the team in yards tonight. And I think if any of us said that, Thursday, we'd been like, what are you even talking about? Ty Mims did. Janari Dean came in at critical positions. Janari Dean scored the game-winning touchdown. So talk about that, Jackson.
Yeah, you talked about those 3 guys, and really nobody expected that to happen. Jake Lang went in, and Will Hall said because the moment was not too big for him. Kind of the main reason he pulled Zach Wilkie and kind of the reason they were able to get everything together is because he said Wilkie was a little bit too emotional. That's why his throws were high. That's why he was making a little bit of mistakes. You put Lang in there, solid as can be. They start running the ball more effectively, not turning the ball over, and they drive down the field. You got Janari Dean. Frank Orr had a great game, but he also got banged up there towards the end, able to score the last touchdown. And Charlie, I know, is called for a running back by committee approach all season, getting those guys involved in there. And then you got Ty Mims. He replaced an injured Jacarius Caston. First play from scrimmage, he was injured. And Coach Will Hall said that the entire game plan was made for Jacarius Caston because of the coverages he was going to see. So for these backups to come in here and take starting roles and really lead Southern Miss to victory, that's something to write home about.
Guys, is it more about because it didn't seem like me the play calling changed in the second half. There wasn't a lot of differences that they were doing in the second half. Is it more about the team just found a way to win more than it was just like a complete switch of everything that was happening?
Yeah. I would say the play calling definitely changed from, a week ago to now, but it was consistent throughout, and that was something I wrote down. I think Chandler Pittman actually got the first carry of the game. You saw Cole getting a catch on the first drive. I think they came in this game knowing they were going to have to put a team performance together, because you saw last week, even though Brownlee did what he did, they didn't get the win. And it was a similar game script, y'all. This was literally probably the third time I've watched this game this season. It was 10-7 at halftime, down 3 points, and then you're going against a team that's going to like to come out and pound it down your throat to kind of take away with the lead. But that didn't happen here. It felt like it was going to happen to the third quarter, but I think that play calling, getting more people involved, really just opened up their offense and allowed them to kind of win this game together, rather than, putting it on Frank Gore's back, putting it on Brownlee's back. I really think that was the difference tonight.
Yeah, kind of just like what Demon said, and asking about, was it a big change on play calling? I really didn't see much. I don't think any of us saw much of a change overall. But just like you said, there was a switch, but it wasn't a switch in the play calling. It just, something clicked once they put in Jake. I don't know if the team just got a little bit more confident, like they talked about in there. They knew that once Jake came in, you could trust him to make the plays. That's Will Hall. He drove that point home, is that Jake comes in, he's just going to do what he is supposed to do. He is not going to go out there and try and, be Lamar Jackson or, be a Patrick Mahomes. He's going to go out there and just follow the game plan and do what he needs to do. And I think that was the biggest thing. I mean, I think that's an easy out for me to say, what was the big switch in the game. But it really just felt like something just changed in the stadium. People were wondering where Wilkie was. I was sitting on the sidelines, and people were wondering who this guy Lang is and why is Wilkie out of the game? Is he hurt? And I was just, I wish I could have been telling him, no, he's not hurt. This is just a move by Will Hall. So overall, I think that was a big switch overall. Not the play calling in general, but just a confidence boost when you get another guy in there.
And I just want to talk about the defense for a second, because the defense won this game. I mean, I get the offense. Probably the biggest play of the game, safety, Mason Hunt drops the ball, and it's a safety. It's 19-7. The whole place is dead. And I was up in the press box tweeting out, and I said, Southern Miss needs something huge to happen right here. It's got to happen. Arkansas State gets an easy pass completion over the middle for just easy first down. They're at the 50, and then Dominique Quawan gets his first sack of the night, and then now it's 2nd and 17, and then it's a false start at 2nd and 22, and then just from then on, and then Jake Lang led a 95-yard touchdown drive to make it 19-14 in like 3 minutes, I think. So just talk about the defense and just consistently how even after 3 quarters of absolutely nothing, just nothing from the Southern Miss offense, they still give the offense an opportunity to show up every single time. And it's on the offense to do it, but it's just talk about that.
Plain and simple, when the game mattered most, the defense got the job done.
Yep.
You saw early on, first possession on each of first half, second half, a lot of blitzing, a lot of pressure that made Southern Miss susceptible to the passing game across the middle, kind of like y'all you talked about that happened at Troy. Yeah. And that happened up until the very end, where the defense was able to get home, obviously aided with some false start penalties caused by that defensive line movement. But the fact that they were able to get home and really give the Southern Miss offense an opportunity to win, that's what everybody expects from the Southern Miss defense. They call them the nasty bunch for a reason, and they really proved it here tonight.
Charlie, why don't y'all just talk about the defense too?
Yeah, coming into this game, knowing Arkansas, everybody was talking about Arkansas State's defense. I think the focal point was looking at what Southern Miss was going to have to do to fight this offense that they faced, because this offense had only given the ball up twice before coming into the game. Here, they didn't, they didn't give up a turnover throughout the whole game, but Southern Miss's defense was playing aggressive and kind of making them uncomfortable. They were getting looks, they were allowing plays over the middle, like y'all said, what happened last week. Yeah. But the defensive line was applying pressure throughout. Blackman actually got injured in the first quarter. He walked off the field in crutches. He played throughout an injury. So they really made the whole offense uncomfortable, and what the defensive line came up with those impact plays. But really, if I were to signal just one player out of this game that would be my player of the game, it would honestly be Jay Stanley. It's somebody the coaching staff has talked about has kind of grown over the weeks, but he just was all over the field tonight, made huge impact plays, a hit that kind of the whole crowd was like, ooh, because, I mean, he was just it embodied what the defense did tonight, just aggressive play, and ultimately kind of finished the game out for the Golden Eagles.
Yeah, and like what y'all said, they made big plays overall in the game, and I loved your point about Jay Stanley because I watched him all game on the field. I was just like, he was everywhere. He was just everywhere. It felt like he was in every single play. But for me, it was overall the entire game. Even they get that opening drive touchdown. We're thinking, oh man, what's up? How does the defense do that? They've been very good at opening drives in overall season, so that gets you a little worried. But then they just buckled in. Then they allowed Southern Miss to just stay in the game. When I don't want to compare nothing to like these powerhouses in college, but there's certain teams that can just stay in a game no matter what their offense is doing. And I don't want to say it and people come at me, but like in Alabama, they always keep you. That defense will keep you in the game no matter how bad they are in the season or anything. They will keep you in the game. And I don't want to compare Southern Miss's defense to Alabama's defense, but
they didn't do too well today.
They didn't do too well today. But what I'm saying.
Most points ever now.
Yeah, that was not a good comparison for today. But they keep, like, for me, it was just how Southern Miss was able to keep them in the game was the biggest story, because no matter what, the offense was struggling all game. And then when Jake comes in and he's able to pull that off, you got to give that all to the defense, the defensive line. Like Dima said, this was won by the defense.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's everything. And Southern Miss found a way to win the game. It's homecoming. That's their first homecoming win since 2019. They're 3-3. I think you just put that one behind you, and they got out of there with a win. And I think at the end of the day, like Will Hall said today, listen, it's not going to be pretty, but I'll take the win. And I think, I think all fans can leave here tonight after seeing what happened in the first three quarters, and they still won that game. That is an ultimate positive. Southern Miss 3-3 after homecoming, 1-1 in Sun Belt play. The whole season's ahead of them. They just need 3 more wins to get bowl eligible, which is honestly unbelievable to believe. But that's Jackson Howell. That's Charlie Luttrell. That's Nathan Lee, and I'm Dima Mixon. Thanks so much for watching our post-game thoughts. Southern Miss victors on homecoming night. What was the final score? 19-7? No, 20-19. 2019. Thanks so much for watching.
2019, first homecoming win since 2019.
Wow, the mind is blown. The Lord is watching. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see y'all next time.